I was delighted to be asked to participate in one of the monthly programs with the Boxwood Alliance. And I'm the Westchester director for DOROT. DOROT is a Hebrew word that means generations. The organization started in 1976 on the Upper West Side of Manhattan with college and post-college students who were living in apartment buildings with older adults that they befriended. And a few of them got together and decided they should create a not-for-profit called DOROT. So we too are a 501c3. And about 15 years ago, I'm going to fast forward a little bit. About 15 years ago, DOROT decided that they had a very successful urban model for our mission, and we should take a look at what the suburban model could be. We have a dual mission. One is to stem the tide of social isolation for older adults, and the other is to create intergenerational programs and opportunities. The program that started DOROT originally in 1976 was called Friendly Visiting, and older adults who were interested in having a volunteer come to their house to meet with them for about an hour once a week for socialization purposes contacted them. We did home assessments to make sure that the home and the person were suitable to have a volunteer go into their home. And then we would look for a volunteer who actually shared a lot of their interests. The program that we started with in Westchester 15 years ago was Friendly Visiting. And we have a number of other programs that we have done, which I'm happy to share with anybody, our programs at a glance, which is the program, all the programs that we actually have been offering up until the middle of March. And needless to say, with COVID and everybody switching to remote work, we took our Friendly Visiting program and we moved it to the telephone. And we already had a Telephone Friends program, but we really made a strong point about our volunteers calling our seniors and not visiting. And we wanted to keep our seniors safe in addition to our volunteers. Our volunteers are all ages, and we also serve all of Westchester. But with our Telephone Friends, we can really have people that are in other places. We have a program called Caring Calls that comes out of our 85th Street Manhattan office, where seniors have called and said they would like to participate. And those people are actually paired rather than matched. Paired meaning that people are just put together as the names come up. They just get paired, where the matching for Telephone Friends is where we really want to get a much better sense of each individual person, both the senior. We've gotten a number of new seniors who have said, you know what, not being able to get out and see people, I really want more people to talk to. And so we'll really talk to somebody in depth to get a sense of what are things that they might be interested in. Are they interested in art, in music, in exercise, history, travel? And then we've gotten a number of new volunteers also that a lot of people have had time on their hands. And so we look to match people. And some of the matching that we're doing now is we try to match people who are geographically closer to one another with the hope that when we're able to resume face-to-face visiting, that we're able to do that. So we're always looking to identify older adults who might be interested in getting matched up with a volunteer. And we have a cadre of volunteers who are very connected and involved with us. And we're always looking for new volunteers too. Over the summer, we had a high school student who really had no plans for the summer and said, I love to sing, and she has an amazing voice. And so what we did is we had her sing to a number of our seniors over the phone. And for anybody who has dementia, and while we don't tend not to start with a senior who has dementia, but if somebody is with us and they develop dementia over time, we don't say, sorry, we're not going to serve you anymore. And but having somebody call and sing to you has really made a difference for many of those people. As I said before, we serve all of Westchester. And while we're an agency under Jewish auspice, we also serve everyone. So, I mean, a little more than half of all of our seniors are Jewish, and the rest are of other faiths. And we welcome all people who are interested in joining us. We have another program that is pretty interesting. We have an intergenerational chess program. We just finished our 4th year, and it's been for the most part, a face-to-face program that we've met in a school in Hartsdale. We have offered transportation for seniors, but come March, when we could not continue face-to-face, with the help of some of our high school students, we actually transformed the program into a virtual program online. And our chess instructor would do a lesson, and then people would be broken up into breakout groups. And so we have a senior and a high school student playing chess together. In some cases, it might have been 3 people. There were people who did not know how to use Zoom at all, but they were very motivated. And we have people who can help them get onto that. So right now, we're looking for new people, both high school students as well as adults 60 and better, who might be interested in playing chess online and getting to learn about and connect with somebody of a different generation. We'll have a chess instructor again. The plan right now is that we're going to start that program in October. And anybody who might know someone who might be interested, we would welcome them. We have an application that people need to fill in, and then we would do a Zoom interview as well. So we have 2 other programs that have been with DOROT. One is our University Without Walls. And the University Without Walls program, I think university is a little bit misleading in that it's not a university in terms of the level of the classes or offerings, but it's telephone connections and telephone classes. And there are classes on, it's funny, I was planning to talk about our University Without Walls, but just today in the mail, in my email, I got the catalog. I printed it out so I would have it to show you. I can email it to anybody. I put my email and my cell phone in the chat. So if anybody wants to access it, I'm happy to forward you the University Without Walls classes. There are classes that are on all different topics. We do exercises, Qigong on the phone. We're starting to do some larger group programs. The University Without Walls, up until recently, has really been an opportunity to create opportunities for lifelong learning over the phone. We've kept the classes pretty small to 12 people so that people really could interact and share, and individual connections have come out of that. And there are plenty of people who have just enjoyed meeting new people and expanding their social connections. And lifelong learning is something that goes on forever if we're lucky enough. So there's a current events. So there are 2 different types of classes. There are classes where a senior needs to dial in themselves, so they need to know they signed up for a class on Tuesdays at 11. But then there are also staff connected calls. And the staff connected calls, we have staff in our Connect to Tech department who, if somebody signs up for a class, then they would be able to get, somebody would call them to get them onto the conference call system. And so there's a wide range of classes. There, obviously now there's a lot of stuff going on in terms of current events and politics. I'm just looking to give you a flavor of kinds of things. There's also here something about news articles, discussion group with the New York Public Library, there things about anti-racism, about the Supreme Court. There are museum discussions, music and performing arts. There's introduction to jazz, there's classic musicals. There are sing-along programs, and what the staff will do is once somebody signs up for a program, if there's music that they would need for the program itself, they would be mailed out to them, so that if there are resources or materials that anybody might need for any of the University Without Walls classes, there's, as I said, there's health and wellness, meditation. We're going to have an intergenerational 9/11 remembrance conversation. And then there are lots of other different kinds of conversations about, one is films we love, an opportunity for people who love film to talk about the films that they love. It's another one on gardening. You know, what are the things that people are able to do now that is really kind of an interesting way to think about things. And again, if anybody wants a copy, I can email the catalog, but I should be getting in the mail within the next week. They just started sending out the new catalogs. So if anybody would like to get a catalog in the mail, you can just email me your name and address, and I will facilitate getting one of the catalogs out to you. So this catalog is for fall 2020, and a great opportunity. So if you know anybody, and no matter where somebody lives in terms of the University Without Walls, people can participate because it's on the phone. Another program that is kind of new since COVID started is, it's now called On-Site at Home. Up until the middle of March, we were offering programs in our main office in our conference room. And, you know, we could accommodate, if it was a lecture type program, we could accommodate about 50 people. If it was an exercise program, we could accommodate probably between 15 to 20, depending what it was. But that department moved from the face-to-face into something that we now call on-site at home. And these are Zoom programs that run the gamut from, there's a cartoonist that has done a program, Mort Shamsky from the Mets has done some programs with us. So there were regular programs that happen every week, like music appreciation. There's a French conversation group. There's guided meditation, strength and stretch and strength out at DOROT, which is an LBGT program. There's about decluttering, and there's an email blast that goes out every Monday that highlights the upcoming programs that people can participate in. And then, so if anybody would like to get onto the email distribution for the on-site at home programs, again, just email me and give me your email address and say you're interested in the on-site at home programs. So at the moment, we do not believe that we are going to be able to resume face-to-face programs through 2020. And we're trying to really ramp up our other programs. One of the things that we're just starting with Westchester seniors is I have a team of 4 social workers, and each social worker has a caseload. And what the plan right now is to try to develop some small group conversations on a weekly basis for people who are on their caseload to be able to, you know, just expand that socialization internally with the seniors that we have, and we welcome new seniors as well. So that's the overview about what we're doing now. We've been doing mailings out to our seniors. Right now we have 160 home assessed seniors, but we have an additional 180 non-home assessed seniors. And non-home assessed seniors are people who participate in the University Without Walls, with the on-site at home programs. When we moved into office space it was a year in June. We didn't make it for more than a few months, but we had begun to organize on-site programs in our Westchester office in White Plains. And we did a storytelling, we did a mindfulness program, and then we had to cancel all of the other programs until such time as we'll be able to resume them. But many of them have started with on-site at home, because the on-site at home programs really have wonderful, wonderful legs in that regard. One of the programs that I just wanted to mention, the first program is going to be, it's on September 11th, it's 12:30 to 2. Rabbi Laura Geller, actually, she and her husband, who is now deceased, Richard Siegel, wrote a book, and this is a copy of the book. It's Getting Good at Getting Older. And it's a compilation of lots of different ways in which we can enhance our aging process. And so Laura has agreed to both do like a keynote kind of piece, and then there are going to be 3 subsequent sessions. So if people are interested in that, I mean, I was personally interested. I mean, I got the book and think that that's a great opportunity to think about, you know, how we get older and what we can do in order to enhance that and make it as good as possible. It's tied in a lot with the Wise Aging programs that lots of people are being trained in and doing as well. So I don't know if there are questions. I was told I should plan for about 20 minutes, which I think we've gotten about to that point. So I don't know if there are questions or people would like to, you know, share anything or ask, you know, ask any questions.
Great, thank you so much. That was that was really informative. I don't think I really understood everything that you did from, and this is something I've been looking at. You know, I've known about you guys for years, but but I wish I had known all this. I'm glad the presentation really does help to really round out what you guys offer, which I think is really, really great.
Thank you.
So I have everybody on mute. To be fair, I of course, people, so 25, 30 people sign up and a third of them show up, which seems to be what we see. So I think the easiest thing to do is, if people have questions, if you guys can see that there's a little place on the bottom of the screen where you can raise your hand. And if you have a question and you raise your hand, I will unmute you so you can actually ask your question. So let me give everybody a moment to kind of find their way there and see if they can do that.
So while that's happening, there is one thing I wanted to add that I tend to forget about, but I think is really important. And that is that we do not charge for our programs and services. So somebody's financial ability to pay is irrelevant to them being able to participate with us, which is just an added bonus.
That's a large added bonus.
Right.
I would say. So,
yes.
Okay, so you know what I'm going to do is I am going to go ahead and unmute everybody, since we only don't have that many people. You know, if there was 30 or 40 people, it would be hard. But now anybody that wants to open their mouth and say something, as long as you unmute yourself, you can speak. So if anybody has any questions, feel free to ask. And I do see there's one question in the Q&A. Oh, okay. One of the questions was, does DOROT partner with any other agencies in the community?
I'm not sure what you mean by partner. So we have lots of close relationships with other organizations. There are times when we will work, if a senior has certain issues or problems, that we'll work with another agency who's also serving them. We're not a case management agency, but sometimes dealing with people that they need more services and support than what we can offer. So we are happy to do that. In the same way that we will get referrals for seniors from other agencies as well.
Okay.
So we have a small grant from the Westchester Department for Senior Programs and Services that helps us run our programs, and they help us with our friendly visiting program, telephone reassurance, and our University Without Walls.
Great, that's great. So
okay, so I can't see everybody, but I see that Carolyn Coney is on, and so I'm going to talk about another program that we have that's actually based out of the city, but it's available to Westchester seniors also, and that is our Lasting Impressions program. So we have a legacy program And our lasting impressions is really an opportunity for a senior to work with a volunteer. And Carolyn's husband has been a fabulous volunteer with us. And so the volunteer would meet with somebody once or twice. We've started doing some of them on Zoom and some of them on the phone since March, but it's an opportunity for a senior to really think about their life and be able to document really major milestones in their lives. And that document ends up being a 5 or 6 page written account of their lives. It could have photographs in it, pictures of their artwork, recipes, but it's a gift that they can give to their families.
Neat. That's really neat. Okay, so it looks like I have somebody who's raised their hand. So that's right. Eleanor, I think you're unmuted on my end. So Eleanor Reich, I hope I'm not mispronouncing your name. If you want to go ahead and speak, go right ahead. No? All right.
So I see in the question, so DOROT began in 1976 in Manhattan, and we've now been in Westchester 15 years.
Okay.
And the other question, oh, Eleanor, you want to jump in? Eleanor, you need to unmute yourself if you want to ask a question.
Okay.
There you go.
Maybe not. All right. So if you're having trouble, Eleanor, if you put it in the questions or the chat, we can probably try to answer your question.
So Amy, you asked a question about the background you're looking for in volunteers. And so we're always looking for volunteers who want to be matched with somebody for a telephone relationship. And so what we have an application for volunteers that we can get to somebody who wants to volunteer. There are volunteer opportunities that could be a one-time experience, or it could be as frequently as once a week. And, you know, we try to really do some in-depth talking to the volunteers. We'll do a Zoom interview with them now. And we ask for references that we check as well. We really want to do diligence. I mean, when we're doing friendly visiting, we do actual background checks because we have a volunteer who's actually going into somebody's home in that respect. And like the seniors who are in our chess program, we consider them to be volunteers too. But right now we're in the midst of a card making effort. In the past, we do package deliveries generally for the Jewish New Year, for winter, and then around Passover time. And we send letters out to all of our seniors asking them if they would like to have a package and or a visit. And then we look for volunteers who can do those one-shot deals. This year, we're doing something very different in terms of the Jewish New Year. We've actually doing a massive card-making effort. We've sent out information to try to get handmade cards, and we're doing a big mailing out to all of our seniors in Westchester. And that mailing will include information about things that people should be thinking about. It tells them about telephone friends, University Without Walls, and on-site at-home programs. There's also a piece reminding people to get their flu shot, reminding people about the census, giving information about voting, about the chess program. We're going to include the handmade cards, this information here about what I just mentioned, along with, we're going to put 2 face masks in every package as well. Okay. So we've gotten 2 wonderful donations of face masks. And so we're able to include them, and they're washable, reusable masks, which is great.
That is great.
So I saw there was a question that came up here.
The email address. What was the email address?
The email address, you know what, I'm going to just type it in so that everybody can see it here, because I think that'll be easier than my trying to spell it out.
Okay, and then while you're typing, there was one more question. Are the people teaching the on-site at-home classes volunteers or paid? So the teachers.
Yes, both. Both.
Okay.
Ideally, we like to have volunteers, but there are some people that do get paid, and that is actually handled by the staff in the on-site at home department.
Great. I think, Carolyn, did you still have a question?
More of a comment. I just wanted to thank you, Cippy, for a wonderful presentation. I'm just totally amazed at everything that DOROT has to offer, and I find that it's just invaluable. And as far as Steve's volunteer work with DOROT, he is just enjoying it so much and getting so much out of it. And I was kind of wondering too about how many people are involved with the DOROT program in the city and how many in Westchester.
In terms of staff or volunteers?
Well, just in terms of participants.
So here in Westchester, we have 160 home-assessed seniors and we have 180 non-home-assessed. So it's what, 350.
Wow.
In the city, it's in the thousands.
That's really terrific.
So when we moved into office space, there were 6 staff people here in Westchester. We have 4 social workers. We have a program administrator and myself. I am also a social worker. The city has about 80 staff people. So we're big. Yeah, but I think, you know, with the whole COVID situation, I will say we were poised beautifully to be able to really shift our friendly visiting to the telephone and to really ramp up our University Without Walls and our on-site programs at home. So we really, you know, everybody's using the word pivot. We moved very quickly and pivoted to really identify the needs for people. And we've been calling people much more frequently in terms of social workers, checking in on people. And we've done these check-in calls. So there was an outpouring of volunteers right at the beginning. People had time on their hands, they were home, they wanted to do something meaningful. And we set up this, the Caring Calls program where people could get either 1 or 2 calls a week for initially 4 weeks, and that was extended to 8 weeks, et cetera. And then now the questions have been, do people want to continue? In Westchester, we've offered people the opportunity to develop a telephone friend match. And Amy, I think you had another question here. Do you aim to match volunteers to a senior based on proximity to where they live as well as a common interest? Ideally, yes, because our hope is that people might be able to visit once that can happen again. So we've always done that with friendly visiting. We've matched people where geography plays into it. There are people, though, you know, sometimes if we have a senior who is a hoarder, that they're not going to be a person that we can ever have a volunteer go into their home. And so the telephone program and University Without Walls are ideal for them. And so that's never going to be a situation where they might meet unless they meet outside or somewhere else. So ideally, yes, but it's not required.
All right, so I mean, I thought this was excellent, and I think you did a very good job of explaining what you do and what you guys have to offer, which I think is a wonderful program. And thank you so much for taking the time to volunteer to this educational piece. Hopefully we recorded it adequately and we'll be able to repost it somewhere on our website.
Oh, terrific. Wonderful.
So people can learn more about it if they weren't able to attend. It looks like some people lost some power, which we had the same problem last month for some odd reason.
I'm sorry.
No, it's not.
No, I've been in that situation. We had no power for quite a while, and I was taking my laptop and my cell phones, and I was getting in the car and driving to a parking lot near a store where I could access their Wi-Fi. It was crazy.
I was doing that as well. Before we end, I just want to give, if there's anybody else that has any questions, before we formally end, I just want to make sure that anybody that did have a question gets an opportunity to answer. So either raise your hand, type it in the question Q&A box, or type it in the chat and we can answer. I'll give everybody like a minute or so to do that. And otherwise, while I'm giving you that moment, I just want to remind people that that we are doing these webinars every month. It's posted on the website. We try to do a different topic every month, and I think we're pretty much scheduled out through the middle of next year. So we've got one a month of lots of interesting topics. So please come back and join us again. Okay, so it doesn't seem like anybody else has any questions. I guess at this point we will close out the webinar. And again, thanks everybody for attending, and have a great evening. Stay dry.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much.
My pleasure. And feel free to be in touch if you have any questions or want to continue the conversation.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Great. Bye.